What is up, trail goblins? Today we're going to be talking about the Leadville Trail 100 and how a 19-year-old course record was broken. But before I get into that, did you know that 92% of you aren't subscribed? Hit that subscribe button, or next time you go running, you're gonna feel like you're running at 11,000 feet. You wanna be jogging and feel like you're running at a dead sprint? Subscribe already! Just kidding, please subscribe, thank you. That's right, David Roche, the host of my favorite running podcast, the Some Work All Play podcast, just broke a 19-year-old course record that was set back in 2005 by Matt Carpenter. For those of you who don't know, Matt Carpenter is king of high-altitude trail running. He's been racing since the year I was born, back in 1993, when he broke the Pikes Peak Ascent record. In a time of 2 hours and 1 minute that stood for 30 years until it was broken by Remy Bonnet just last year in 2023. In 2005, Matt Carpenter decided to give this whole ultra running thing a try and raced the Leadville 100. And he broke the course record by an hour and a half. He's one of the best old school trail runners to ever live, and some people thought this record would never be broken. That is until this year when David Roche decided that he would shoot his shot and see if he could take down that infamous course record. Now let's get into a little bit about the Leadville 100. Leadville 100 is a 100-mile out and back course that starts at 9,200 feet in the town of Leadville, Colorado, where a little-known runner named Courtney DeWalter lives and trains. You've probably never heard of her. The race tops out at 12,620 feet at Hope Pass, so this is a high-altitude race. That means that the average altitude of this race is about 11,000 feet. That is high up. This race doesn't have a ton of elevation gain at only around 15,000 feet, which makes it less elevation than Western States and about half the elevation of UTMB. Now on to this year's race. The race started at 4 a.m. with David Roche going into the lead immediately from the starting gun. He came into the May Queen aid station at mile 12.6 in a time of 1 hour and 31 minutes, already 10 minutes up on Matt Carpenter's course record pace. Ryan Montgomery came in about 1 minute behind David, and JP Giblin about 1 minute behind Ryan. For the women's side of the race, we had the same thing happening that was happening on the men's side of the race, with Mary Denholm taking the lead from the start and leading all the way to the finish. Mary Denholm came into that first aid station in a time of 1 hour and 42 minutes. Followed by Caitlin McDaniel 2 minutes behind her, and Molly Herford 5 minutes back from her. 23.5 miles into the race at the outward bound aid station, David came charging in a time of 2 hours and 59 minutes. Ryan now fell about 4 minutes behind him, and Brandon Stone was about 1 minute behind Ryan. Mary came in at a time of 3 hours and 23 minutes, with Caitlin McDaniel now 6 minutes behind her, and Ailsa McDonald 9 minutes behind her. Now we're going to skip ahead to the Twin Lakes Village aid station at mile 38 of the race, where David came in at 4 hours and 51 minutes, now putting the hammer down on his competition and the course record, coming in 30 minutes ahead of Matt Carpenter's course record. At this point, I thought he might be going out a little too fast and wouldn't be able to keep up that pace for the rest of the race, but as we know, he did. Adrian McDonald had now stepped into second place in the race and was 8 minutes behind David. And now Ryan was 4 minutes behind him. Mary Denholm was dominating the field and came in a time of 5 hours and 38 minutes. 22 minutes ahead of Ailsa McDonald, who had passed Caitlin McDaniels and was now 4 minutes ahead of her. Now we'll hop ahead to the halfway point of the race to the Winfield aid station at mile 50, where David Roche came in a time of 7 hours and 9 minutes. 26 minutes up on the course record and 11 minutes ahead of Adrian, who was also under course record splits. And Will Murray had now moved into 3rd place and was 10 minutes behind Adrian. Mary Denholm came in a time of 8 hours and 27 minutes, 46 minutes ahead of Ailsa, with Julie Wright now moving up into 3rd, 26 minutes behind Ailsa. Now, all the racers had to do was make it back to that starting line 50 miles back in the opposite direction. Seems easy enough, right? Now heading backwards on the course back to the Twin Lakes aid station at mile 62.5, 100K into the race. David came in at a time of 9 hours and 27 minutes. Just 12 minutes ahead of the course record time. So with about 40 miles left of the race, that course record seemed to be closing in on David the farther along in the race that he got. David was now 14 minutes ahead of Adrian, who was also 14 minutes up on Will. Mary still had a commanding lead of the race, with Julie now moving into 2nd place. Julie was still about 18 minutes back from Mary, but Zoe Rom had now moved into 3rd and was just 1 minute behind Julie. Now hopping ahead to that May Queen aid station, which is the last aid station of the race and just 12 miles from the finish line. David came in a time of 13 hours and 29 minutes. Now increasing his gap to 16 minutes ahead of the course record. All he had to do was keep his pace up from that last aid station to the finish line to claim that course record. Adrian had now fallen 28 minutes behind David, and Will was now 42 minutes behind him. Mary now had a commanding lead of 1 hour and 27 minutes. So she was putting the pedal to the metal. Zoe and Julia were still just 1.5 minutes apart with 12 miles to go to the finish line. It was going to be a close race for second. David Roche finished the Leadville Trail 100 in a time of 15 hours, 26 minutes, and 34 seconds, beating Matt Carpenter's time by 16 minutes and 25 seconds. This 2024 course is also more difficult than the course that Matt Carpenter ran back in 2005. Adrian McDonald ended up coming in second, 30 minutes behind David. And Ryan Montgomery clawed his way back up into third, 13 minutes behind Adrian and finishing off the podium. David did such an amazing job at this race. He had food poisoning a week before the race, suffered from altitude sickness during the race, and still got the course record. For the women, Mary Denholm came in a time of 18 hours and 23 minutes, which is the second fastest time ever ran on this course for women. The current course record for the Leadville 100 women's race is 18:06 that was set back in 1994. And it was set by the legend of trail running, Ann Trayson. So if Mary could have just gone 11 seconds per mile faster, she would have beaten a 30-year-old course record, but easier said than done. Zoe Rom came in second, 3 hours and 4 minutes behind Mary. And Julie Wright came in third, just 21 minutes behind her. Mary crushed the competition, and it's crazy to think how hard people are able to push themselves without even anyone chasing them. Like, it's just crazy. She literally had no competition and came in with the second fastest time in the race's history. Just an incredible race for Mary. But yeah, guys, that wraps up this video for today. But what do you guys think? Was Matt Carpenter's course record going down this year no matter what? Should we start a petition for David Roche to race Western States 100 next year? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe now to become an official trail goblin. We're gobbling up trails and hobbling around in the mountains. And guess what? This goblin is running UTMB in less than 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that.